I think at the moment, from my experience, a lot of what's happening in schools may have been very relevant for a previous generation, but I think the pace of change has been so fast in the last 2 decades that we actually have to re-examine what we're doing in school, re-examine how learning is structured, re-examine how we learn, because we're preparing students for a rapidly changing world where they have to be constantly changing and constantly reflecting on what it is they are doing. They have to be able to really learn how to learn, because we can't imagine the jobs they're going to be in 10 years' time. It's no longer a static society. If you even look at the last generation and look at how much it's changed with regard to devices, software, how we interact with the world, I mean, can you imagine how even our language has changed? Before we had simple things like mice, but now they're different things. We had different ways to think of the cloud. Now it's a very different way of looking at it. But it's the way we interact and communicate. The world in many senses has shrunk, but in the same time we are left with seriously complex problems we can't solve on our own. So we need to have the next generation examine those problems. I think we have to look at how we actually interact with students. I think it's all relational. I think we have to look at how the learning is structured, the power dynamics, who actually is in control of the learning, who decides the learning goals, who designs the learning experience. And I think the role of the teacher has to be examined. We have to examine it ourselves as teachers, but as well as that, society has to look at what it expects of teachers too. I think society has an outdated understanding of what a teacher should be. You know, a teacher's supposed to be the font of all knowledge. They can't be, they could never be. And now I think they should be looked upon as learning professionals. People who can design learning experiences that will engage learners in a range of exciting experiences so that they can actually learn how they learn best themselves and continue to develop that sort of reflection and learning cycle. I think teachers themselves have to have the support that they are allowed to be learners themselves. They have to be supported that they can take risks, that they're allowed to fail, that they're allowed to learn from their failures and actually design exciting learning environments that they can actually share with others, they can collaborate with others. Prior to this, teachers have been expected to be lone individuals. I think now we're moving into an era where teachers can cooperate with one another, where they will co-teach, where they will build communities, where there are several learning professionals within that community that actually can help one another. And I think we're moving towards an era of the learning organisation, where a school is a learning organisation. Digital tools bring to the learning environment is the fact that they enable us to extend or augment cognition. They enable us to add another layer. They enable us to actually work in multimodal fashion, have a range of media to work with. So it can actually appeal to the learning styles of different learners. So if I was a visual learner, I can actually produce something that actually makes sense to me. As well as that, it actually enables us to do things that we weren't perhaps able to do before. We can actually engage maybe in mathematics and explore concepts like geometry, where we have dynamic geometric tools, where we can really begin to explore things like parallelism, perpendicularity, the triangle, what does a triangle look like, and begin to stretch it and move it in different planes, etc. So I can really begin to explore concepts that I couldn't do before. I can also look at things like I can collaborate with a range of people across the globe that I wasn't able to do before in real time, and actually speak to real people who are experiencing these real problems in a different part of the world. So I can begin to develop cultural understandings of what these people mean or understand by certain things.